Is the internet computer allegedly one step closer? Now, what do I mean by this? I'll explain real quick, but even though I just want to clarify how I am not a financial advisor, nothing I say is financial advice, is purely my perspective, and I'm not telling anyone to do anything. However, does anyone remember Mission 70? Now, allegedly, that's this quote-unquote strategic plan to cut ICP inflation by 70% by the end of 2026. I think we've all heard about that, right? But a recent proposal was passed, approved basically. It says how Generation 1 node rewards are computed using reduced values. So they say minus 40%. Now, people like to say, okay, who cares about this? But basically, again, this kind of puts it one step closer towards, I think, achieving the actual intent of Mission 70. Because if, again, the goal of Mission 70 is to cut ICP inflation by 70%, by the end of this year, this right here, I think if anything, even though it may sound kind of complicated and no one really kind of cares about it, but again, even despite that, I think what that recent approval of that proposal showcases is that ICP is one step closer to achieving the ultimate goal of Mission 70, at least in my opinion. So it's not like Dfinity is not caring about the internet computer. It's not like that in my opinion, arguably I would say, because as long as there's still activity, as long as these type of proposals still go on, I just don't think it's being ignored. This is my mindset. I mean, sure, ICP people like to say, well, if the price charts are low, that means it's being ignored. Well, maybe in terms of the sentiment, but in terms of the project overall, I don't think Dfinity is just straight up ignoring it. I don't think that is the case. I think they still care about it. And clearly, I mean, even in my previous video, I was talking about OEC 2.0. And in one of my previous videos before that, I was talking about Caffeine AI version 3. I mean, Dfinity is still doing things after all. It's not like the internet computer is just not being cared about. That doesn't seem to be the case. I mean, okay, maybe the retail market doesn't really care about ICP as of right now that much, but it doesn't necessarily mean that Dfinity doesn't care about it. You know, sometimes Dfinity does not share the sentiment of this space. This space may not want to care about the internet computer, but when it comes to Dfinity, it still seems like they care. So I do like seeing that. And also on top of that as well, if I take a look at just the internet computer, in terms of it as a project, people like to say, well, it doesn't really bring anything that compelling. Like there's better competitors out there, they like to say. And to a certain extent, I kind of get what they mean, because people like to say, well, why even choose the internet computer? Take a look at Solana, for instance. Take a look at, let's say in the case of Cardano. I get what they mean by that, but it's not like there's only going to be one thing and one thing only. It's like, for instance, in the case of cars, right? There's a bunch of cars out there. There's Toyota, there's Rivian, and many others. It's not like there's only just one. And within this space, I think it's a little bit no different. I mean, okay, we see Ethereum, we see Cardano, we see Solana, but we also see the internet computer. Not every single enterprise out there, not every single business out there is just going to automatically just only choose one. If that's the case, then basically only one project exists and then that's it, right? But that doesn't seem to be the case. It's like, for instance, if everyone just liked Toyota, then it's only going to be Toyota, but that isn't the case. So each enterprise, each individual, they may have their own preferences when it comes to this space. It's not like it's just a one thing fits all type of vibe, in my opinion. A developer may have certain things that they're looking for. Like, for instance, Dfinity, they're really pushing this narrative of things running fully on chain when it comes to the internet computer. Maybe a developer may value that, right? Maybe a developer may care about that over popularity. You know, that might be the case. Who knows? There could be a lot of parameters that come into place as to where a developer may choose to build, or maybe where an enterprise chooses to, I guess, adopt a certain project. Again, there's a lot that goes into that. So when people like to say, well, there's no point in the internet computer existing if, let's say, there's Solana and all this, but I just disagree with that, because again, clearly ICP is not a small project by any means. It's currently ranked 49th in the world in terms of market cap within this space. And also on top of that, it's not like every single developer out there is just only going to want to choose a certain place. So I think there's still a quote unquote place when it comes to the internet computer within this space. Now, not to mention, if I take a look at, let's say, in the case of ICP, people like to tell me, well, if a project is doing this bad, then why would I still even care about it? Like, they ask me why I care about it. Like, I can't speak on anyone's behalf, but I think kind of that right there has somewhat answered the question in and of itself, because my intent is to dollar cost average. Now, I can't control the market in terms of when I dollar cost average because I do it once a month. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen at that exact point, but if it happens to be below $3, especially when it comes to ICP, I have no complaints, because if my intent is to dollar cost average, then preferably I'd like it if it's lower. This is just my mindset. I'd like it hypothetically to be as low as possible. Now, can I control that? Again, I can't, but if ICP is below $3, I have zero complaints, because my objective after all is to dollar cost average, in which case, again, if people like to ask me, well, why do I care about it when things are low? Well, again, that's literally it, right? That's literally why I care about it, because it's like, for instance, if I want to buy a bicycle, now I'll still like the bicycle regardless, like for instance, a Santa Cruz bicycle. But if it happens to have a discount, like, I'd probably like it even more, because I already like the bicycle anyways. Now, if there's a discount, I'll like it even more. Now, it's a different scenario here, but I'm saying sometimes I kind of view some similarities there, because some of my friends out there, they're happy and they're kind of like pretty elated that Ethereum or Bitcoin had a pullback, because they say they're a fan of it, and now they're able to, basically dollar cost average into a project that they're a fan of, yet at a lower point. I understand that mindset, but the way you take a look at it is, I kind of think about it the same way, but just within the projects that I'm a fan of. Like for instance, the Internet Computer, I talk about Civic, I talk about Onyx, etc. That's just my mindset. So it's kind of no different. I mean, if they're happy dollar cost averaging at a lower point for some of the bigger projects out there because they're a fan of it, I view it the same way here. Now, it's a little bit kind of, I think, sometimes bizarre, because people don't really view the Internet Computer as being such a awesome project sometimes, but I do like it fundamentally. So personally, I am voluntarily choosing $2 cost average once a month. I don't have to, but because I like it, that's something I'm voluntarily doing. So in the meantime, though, as of right now, what I think I saw in regard to the recent proposal, again, that I mentioned earlier on the video, in regard to that basically being approved and then also being effective as of today, I just think it's a pretty important step in terms of maybe fully achieving Mission 70, but it's just one step closer. It doesn't fully, I think, accomplish that as of late, personally, in my opinion, but it does put it one step closer, which is why I titled this video One Step Closer, because that was the initial reaction that I felt inside of me, basically. When I first saw that, I just thought, wow, like, it put it one step closer. That was my initial reaction. So I thought to myself, yeah, it is kind of like one step closer, actually. But even besides that point, though, I just want to say thank you for watching. I hope you all have a very nice day. I'll be sure to make more updates moving forward when it comes to ICP. So hopefully y'all stay tuned for that. I just want to say thank you for watching, and it's Willie the Captain. I'm out. Peace. Bye.